The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selina MacKenzie.
Now it's Culinary Corner time now, and we're going to be chatting to Jenny Linford about her new book, which is called The Kew Gardens Salad Book. Welcome to the show, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
The pleasure's all mine. Now, what's the connection then with Kew Gardens?
Well, Kew Gardens have a publishing house which raises revenue for Kew, and they commissioned it. It's quite exciting because they don't do a lot of cookbooks, and this is the third book I've done with them. And really, the connection is, good question. Kew's work is about biodiversity, about preserving and researching biodiversity, and so this cookbook is linked to that theme because really what I'm trying to do with it is encourage people not just to eat more plants, but to eat a wider range of plants. And we thought salads are wonderfully accessible. They're really versatile, actually, as a form. And so we sort of celebrating, both biodiversity and salads in the cookbook.
Yeah, I was reading actually about biodiversity. It says the world's current diet depends on just 12 plant and 5 animal species for 75% of our food, which does actually threaten biodiversity.
Exactly. I think it's quite sobering because we don't realise how narrowly we're eating, really. And we, because, in the past, yes, these great, the great grains, wheat and rice and corn, were able to feed huge numbers of people and provide calories. But the thing is, we're now living in an age of climate change. If you look at the news, it's droughts and floods and fires. And if you listen to Farming Today, like I do, because I'm interested, they're always telling you, how hard it is. My field was flooded. I couldn't plant. I missed the growing season. My yield is down. And there's disease spreading too, with climate change. We're getting pests here in Britain that we never had before. All around the world, things are moving and changing. And so really, sensibly, as human beings, what we can do is to widen what we eat. And there are lots and lots of plants that are edible there. Some of them got lost just partly because they weren't, they didn't give the yields that made them more commercial, but they have got incredible traits. And in the cookbook, I did a visit to the kitchen garden there, where the wonderful head gardener called Helena Dove, she is literally trying to create a model. So we look at it, kitchen gardens, it's lovely stone brick walls, very beautiful, very orderly. But what she's growing there, alongside things that are very familiar, things that are very unfamiliar, which she's telling me, we can grow them now in Britain. The seed companies have realised that we can now grow plants that before were grown in India. They can also grow in Britain. And she's trying to grow for resilience and to show people methods so people come to the garden, ask questions, can learn from her. And that's very much what Kew are trying to do. They're trying to get us to think and to prepare. And it's a really simple thing to do, is just to eat a little bit more widely than we do. Mm-hmm. And the recipes in the book, which you would have seen, they're very eclectic, to inspiration from around the world, which reflects both the fact that Kew's plant collection is from around the world. And it's a Kew work around the world with other doing research in all sorts of places like, Madagascar. And so we've got lots of scope to eat really interesting things in a really interesting way.
And of course, it's all very good for your health, isn't it? Very healthy.
Yeah, really. Honestly, this family was so healthy when I was recipe testing. And I think the fun, what I love about it is that salads, it was very interesting because one of the things I had to think about is, what is a salad? The world of food is full of things that sound really obvious. And then when you try and define them, they're not. And the salads, you're like, okay, salad. What is a salad? How would you define it? You think, it's got to be, it's a green leafy thing. It's got green leaves in it. Lettuce. You're like, okay, what about potato salad? Okay, not just leaves. But it's vegetarian, it's vegetables, and it's always cold. Well, there are warm salads, and then you have salads with meat in them and fish in them and prawns. And so, in fact, what makes a salad is the dressing. The fact that if I gave you raw new potatoes, if I gave you cooked new potatoes, but without just plain, that's potatoes. But if I toss them in some mayonnaise or vinaigrette, I've made a salad. And so that way of approaching the salad, I've just really tried to widen it and get people to eat all sorts of things they wouldn't normally put into salads, like sort of padron peppers and plantains and lots of grains and samphire, and mix it really up and just show that they're all really simple. That's what I like about the book, is the recipes are really short. They're really easy to do, which I think is also part of why salads are so appealing. And as you say, wonderfully healthy. We should all be eating more fibre. That's what's missing from the Western diet, is fibre. And salads are a wonderful way of adding fibre into your diet.
Indeed. And how did this, I know you've written a couple of cookery books, how did this all start? Was it passed down from the family? I know that you're a food writer.
Yeah, I've been a food writer for over 30 years. Food was very unfashionable in Britain when I started, but it's changed in my own lifetime to be hilariously fashionable now. But, yeah, it's just I actually lived abroad a lot as a child. I lived in Singapore and Italy as growing up, Singapore as a young child and Italy as a teenager. And I wasn't consciously interested in food, but when I was there, I soaked up these amazing food cultures. They're really, really powerful. There's so much, food is such a big part of people's lives in both those places. And then when I came back to London, I was sort of nostalgically trying to recreate food. And I did a book about food writing, and food writing is somewhere where either people come from writing to food and meet in the middle, or they come from food to writing. I came from writing because I loved books and reading and writing. But then I also realized how interested I was in food and became a food writer. And I loved cooking. I mean, I think all food writers do. All food writers are greedy, I would say, based on the ones I know, including me. And we get a lot of pleasure. I don't think you could do it otherwise. You get a lot of pleasure out of it. And so I'm a self-taught cook. I'm a home cook, not a chef, which I think is really useful for a cookbook like this because, I know that how busy home cooks are. I know that people don't have lots of time to get to do a lot. You don't have a team of people helping you. And you're cooking for pleasure, but part of the pleasure should be that it should be quite easy to do, really, and straightforward and accessible. And so that's what I love it when people, my friends have bought my cookbooks over the years and cooked from them. And it just gives you a thrill when someone tells you they've made your recipe and they loved it.
Yeah, must be rewarding. Well, one of those recipes is warm roots with satay sauce salad, and you're going to tell us how to make it.
Yes, I am, because in fact, satay is one of the dishes that I did encounter as a child in Singapore. I would go with my cousins to the harbour, which in those days, because Singapore was much less pristine than it is now, was extraordinarily smelly, with quite a sort of rich, nice, earthy river smell. And we would sit by on a warm tropical night and eat satay then. And I love, who does not love a peanut sauce, basically, which was my starting point. And I wanted to sort of rescue, one of the things I wanted to do in this book was show that salads don't just have to be for summer, they can be all year round, And so I wanted a sort of a winter satay recipe. And so this recipe takes, root vegetables, which can be whatever you've got. I've suggested a mix of things like celeriac and parsnips and Sweden turnip, but, carrots, whatever you've got really, will just be very flexible. And you chop these up, roast them in the oven, and while the vegetables are roasting, you make a satay sauce, which is a very simple, basic one, but it's really nice, actually. And it's sort of, you very gently fry some shallots and some oil with garlic, ground fennel seeds, which is a very characteristic satay flavouring that people don't really know about, and cumin and chilli powder. Really soften the onion, that's so important. You don't want little tough bits of onion, so you fry it quite gently for about 10 minutes, stirring it a lot. And then you add in coconut milk, ground peanuts, sugar and lemon juice, and that will come together to make this sort of porridgey sauce. It's quite thick, let it bubble a bit. Let it stir it for a little bit longer, about 10 more minutes, and so it thickens. Check the seasoning, and then you've got your, then you just get your roots out of the oven and pour the sauce over it. Et voila. And it's really nice. I made it the other day for my son and his wife, and they loved it. Because I think it is, there's like something very comforting about that lovely sort of salty sweet peanutty dressing on top of it is really nice.
Yeah, love satay sauce. Well, it's in the book along with lots of other yummy recipes. The book's called The Kew Garden Salad Book, and it's by Jenny Linford, who we're chatting to now. As always, we're selling it right now on our website, TRE.radio. And I mentioned you have other books. Jenny, do you have a website as well?
I do, and it is www.jennylinford.co.uk.
Well, thank you for sharing the recipe and telling us about the book. And you have a good day. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you. Lovely to be on your show. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.